Damn, Daniel.
Back at it again with another BBUK Summer 2016 review, day 2. So 9:32 a.m. the day starts off with Ryan going into the diary room to talk to Big Brother about how he wants to be in the main house. He's sick of living in the side house, the shed house, and all this shit, which I don't blame him. I mean, everyone in the other house seems kind of bitter and like miserable, and he's trying to get out of there, trying to go in the main house. He thought, you know, he signed up to be on Big Brother to go in the main house, and he's not a main person, and he's just going on and on and on and on and on about stuff like that. 11:59 a.m. Tisha and Georgina are like laying out in the garden by the pool, and they're talking about how they, you know, would never get in a bikini in front of all these other skinny girls in the house. Tisha's nipple pops out, I think. They kind of start giggling about that, but I mean, her boobs are so huge, it was bound to happen. I feel like that's gonna be a common theme. As long as she's in the house, her boobs are just always gonna be popping out because they're so big. I mean, what can you really do? We cut back to the other house, and Natalie is talking about her career as being a dominatrix. And she said that, like, basically she was a madam and that she would hire girls to go out and like do whatever with these guys. And like, she ran this business. She was like the pimp of all these girls, basically. The housemates in the other house are watching the main housemates casting footage. They're still watching. They're still trying to see who they want to target for eviction. And they see Evelyn's tape. They don't like Evelyn. They see Andy. They kind of like Andy. And then Chelsea, his video pops up, and they cut to Jane's face, and Jane's like, she doesn't say anything, but she just kind of like looks there. Oh, and then they show Jackson's video footage from his casting, and then he's talking about like eating pussy and how it tastes like dirty or something, and then Charlie is like, oh my god, I like him. She would, wouldn't she? The lap dancer would like the guy who's talking about eating pussy. So Sam's picture pops up, and Ryan loses his fucking mind. He stands up, starts screaming, I know him. He tried to steal 2 of my ex-boyfriends or something, he says. And Sam is just talking shit about Ryan. He's like, I used to have this mate who was also gay, and he started copying me. He copied my hair. He tried to copy the way I dressed, and he started to even talk like me and all this stuff. And they cut back to Ryan, and he does have the same exact haircut. That just made Sam seem petty almost, you know what I mean? I'm still Team Ryan. Out of Sam and Ryan, I'm Team Ryan. I think Ryan is really funny. Oh, and while all this was happening, while Ryan was like standing up and having his like breakdown and his fucking flip out about Sam being in the main house, Jane is like off on the couch, and she kind of mentioned something to Natalie, who's sitting next to her, and she's like, yeah, I knew someone on there. I knew someone in the video thing too. Natalie's like, okay, tell them, you got to tell them eventually, because they're gonna find out. So just tell them later, you know, let Ryan have his freak out right now. And in a minute, just tell everyone later that, yeah, I knew someone too from the video. 2:10 p.m. We're still at the other house, and Ryan is out in the garden with Charlie smoking a cigarette. And they're talking and, you know, going on about how they both have exes or whatever, or they both know people in the main house. And Charlie's like, why only us two? Why only us two? So Jane and the others come out in the garden too. She's like, I knew someone from the video too. I knew Chelsea. They're like, oh really? She was like, we never had a relationship, but we were always very friendly towards each other. I don't know what that means. She said that they were like hanging out up until very recently, right before they went to the Big Brother house. So they had to have known they both auditioned for the show, right? Because you audition like months before the show, and they still had to be together then, because they said that they were still together up until weeks before they went to the Big Brother house. So I don't know. And isn't Chelsea married with children or something? Didn't he say that in his VT? Cut back to the main house. Marco is dressed up in like drag kinda, and he's like playing with the twins. They're all having a good time. I like Marco. I think Marco's gonna keep the mood really light and you know, fun, joking, and not so serious all the time. I think he's gonna keep the mood nice, which every Big Brother house needs. They need a clown kind of character, and I think Marco is going to be that. 2:22 p.m. Tisha and the twins are in the bedroom talking about aliens, and Tisha, she's like, yeah, In America, loads of women have been reported that they have been abducted by aliens, and they have sex with these aliens, and they get pregnant, and then they have the babies, and the alien will take the baby that's half alien, half human, and put the girl back in her bedroom. And like, what? No, I live in America, and I have never heard of no shit like that going down ever. So okay, so we cut back to the other house. All the others are gathered on the couch, and Big Brother reveals to them that the person that they chose yesterday, Sexy, behind the podium Sexy, was Laura, and that Laura is now up for eviction. Now that Laura's up for eviction, she had to choose someone, and she chose Tisha, and that the others are all like fighting this out now. They're like, oh really, Tisha? Oh okay, Laura. 4:26 p.m. they start the task of the day, and the task is basically the podium task they did yesterday, except there's right and wrong answers. So basically the house is split into two teams. They have all these words out hanging on a tree, and they have to pick the word that best describes them. So it's basically the podium task. The others are watching them do this task, so they're learning a little bit more information about them so that they can make a decision to choose a housemate to target, to put up for eviction. I'm not going to go through the whole game because it's kind of long and some of it's unnecessary, but we find out that Laura is a backstabber, and that's the word that she chose. And when Big Brother asked her to confirm, Laura, you said you are a backstabber. Can you please, is this true or whatever? And she goes, at first she says, no, I'm not a backstabber. And then she goes, oh wait, actually, yeah, there was this one time when I kissed my friend's boyfriend behind her back. So yeah, I guess that makes me the backstabber. And she like smiles, and she's one of these little fucking Ariana Grande kitten ear things. I'm like, bitch, I don't like Laura. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. We learn that Evelyn slept with a married man. I don't think anyone is shocked. We learn that Sam is the most arrogant. Again, not shocked. And when Ryan was watching this, he was like, yeah, you look about 40 and you're only 24. And we find out that Jackson apparently has slept with over 300 people. Really? How do you even keep track of 300? How do you count to 300 people? Do you have like a log? Are you fucking making a tick each time? Like, how do you know that you slept with 300 people? And it's interesting because in his VT, when he first was coming on the show, he was saying how he's not one of those guys who brags about how many women they slept with. In fact, he quoted, I think he was trying to make fun of like Scotty T or someone when he was like, yeah, I slept with over 50 girls and all that stuff. And then he's doing the same exact thing. He's saying that he slept with over 300 people, which I don't believe anyway. And they said people, not women, which if we remember from yesterday, he was all up on Sam playing with his hair, so just saying. We learned that Victoria is one of the twins. She is delusional because she thinks that she's an alien. At 6:50, we see Jason in the garden talking about Charlie. He still doesn't know that Charlie is in the other house. And you know, he's just going on about how it ended and how she was kind of mean to him throughout the relationship. And when he was saying this, I was like, mean how? Mean? What does that mean? That's so vague. How is she mean? And then we cut to the others, and she's talking about it too. She's talking about how she used to like criticize the way he looked. He needed Botox, he needed an eye lift, he needed to change his hair and dress differently because he basically it seemed like they broke up because she was critical. And that's kind of what girlfriends do. They kind of go into a relationship thinking they can change a man, but they can't, and then they break up. So I think that's what happened there. But if she goes into that house, I bet like $1 million fucking dollars that they're gonna get back together. And they seem like they still like each other the way they talk about each other. So I think they're gonna get back together if they meet up. If he goes in the other house or if she goes into the main house. 8:13, Laura, Sam, and Marco are talking about like the sleeping arrangements. So as we saw yesterday, Sam and Laura slept together or shared a bed together. I guess Sam was having problems. He can't really sleep with anyone. He gets really fidgety. Why did he agree to share a bed? in the first place. If he knew this was just gonna happen, I don't know, but basically he's kicking Laura out of his bed because he can't sleep with anyone. So Laura's like, okay, I'll sleep in Marco's bed. Marco, can you sleep on the ground and I sleep on your bed? He's like, no, I'll just wear my track bottoms and a hoodie and it'll be fine. I won't try to mess with you or anything like that. I'm not gonna fuck anyone in the Big Brother house. I already told you that. But like yesterday, you were kind of just saying how you were planning on fucking someone in the Big Brother house. 9:31 p.m. Back in the task earlier in the day, Team Red or Team Blue or whatever, which was Georgina, Tisha, Jason, Jackson, and the twins and Marco won the challenge earlier. They get like cakes and desserts and all this stuff, and the other team, the losing team, has to, which is everyone else, has to stay in the bedroom locked away. And when they're in there, the losing team, which is like Laura, Evelyn, Sam, and like someone else, Laura is basically like, oh God, Marco, I want to fuck Marco. I want to fuck him. I want to ride him. Actually, no, I want him to fuck me hard. I was like, oh my God, this girl is a slower. But there's always one like hoe of the house of the season, and I guess she is going to fill that role. That role. So they cut back to the others, and they're about to choose their next target. So they're talking about it for a little bit, and Andrew starts talking, and Ryan's like in the back, just like doing his makeup, but like totally paying attention to Andrew. Is like, Ryan is so funny. He kills me. Ryan is so funny. He needs to stay. He needs to stay for as long as he can. And I want to see Ryan in the fucking house so bad because I want him to like flip out on Sam. And nothing's going on in the house yet, and all the people who would fucking stir the pot and make shit happen are in the other's house. So 10:38 p.m. we cut back to the main house, and all the housemates are gathered in the living area. And Big Brother is like, Alex, because the others chose Alex to be the next victim, to be the next person up for nomination. So Laura, Tisha, now Alex, and now Alex has to choose someone else to be up for nomination for eviction this week. So, and he chooses Andy, which he's probably gonna go home. Andy, that was probably the best choice to make. Andy is kind of blending into the background, not really doing anything. He seems nice, I guess, and sweet, but you can still be sweet and nice and be a little bit entertaining, and you don't have to be so fucking boring. And he's fucking boring, and I think he'll go home. 12:33 a.m. Laura, Andy, Letitia, and like a couple of other people are in the bedroom. Laura is talking to Andy, and she's saying how actually Andy, I don't know who really started the conversation, but Andy is kind of asking her about Marco, like how does she feel when he is like all over her all the time? And she's like, well, I don't really like it actually. He's like grabbing my boob and all over me all the time, but just 5 minutes ago, weren't you saying how you wanted to fuck him? How you wanted to ride him and how you wanted him to fuck you hard? Like, we just saw what you were talking about, so don't try to like act fucking coy and shy now, girl. And he's like, yeah, he's all over you all the time and you're not really all over him. Not from what I've seen, because from what I've seen, she's been on him just as much as he's been on her. Like, he wouldn't be on her if she wasn't allowing it and being all up on him in the first place. So, I don't know. Like I said, I don't like Laura. I think she's gonna try to play this fucking victim, I'm a girl thing. A girl who talks about wanting to be fucked hard is not the same girl who can play a fucking victim card about guys being all over you all the time. Sorry. So Marco strolls in after, they were just talking about him, talking shit about him. And Marco's like, hey Andy, how you doing? How you feeling? And Andy's like, I feel like a snake. Like an evil, slithery snake. Which, Andy, you kind of are. I mean, he was instigating this whole situation between Marco and Laura. So Laura is in the diary room, 1:15 a.m., talking to Big Brother about Marco. And she's saying how he's weird and how weird people are attracted to her and how she's kind of weird herself and she kind of likes him a little bit. And then she says, if he were single and if we were not in the Big Brother house, we were on the outside. Basically, she said we'd hook up, is basically what she was saying. So why is she, I don't get how, she's saying she makes him feel uncomfortable when he's like touching her or whatever. But in the same breath, she's saying she wants to fuck him. So, I mean, as a viewer, that's confusing. So, I mean, to Marco, he must be super confused and super frustrated, which he is, because Marco is talking to Jason and Chelsea, and he's saying, you know, I think I'm gonna leave her alone. I'm not gonna mess around. I'm not gonna try to get in her pants anymore because she's leading me on and she's a tease and she's not really taking my advances and all this kind of stuff. I think he's gonna find his new target. He said, you know, pussy comes and pussy goes, and truer words have never been said. So he's gonna move on to the next person. He's probably gonna try to target Evelyn. But like I said, Evelyn's kind of too bad for him. I think Evelyn is into the strong, silent type, which Alex is kind of being, and I think she's more into Alex, and I predict that she's going to be more into Alex than she is with Marco. But nonetheless, I still like Marco. I think he's just a young, I mean, he's 20 years old, so he's horny all the time, and you know, there's hot girls in the house. He's going to act like a fool. But he's entertaining, and he comes across as like, I'm not scared for anyone's safety or anything in the house. He's just goofy, and that's what they need. The episode ends with Marco getting called into the diary room because Big Brother feels that his actions regarding physical boundaries and space were inappropriate or whatever. So he gets called in there and he gets a warning. I don't know if it's a like official warning, like a 1, 2, 3 strike kind of warning, or if it was just like a, hey, it's day 2, you know, don't do this, shame on you kind of warning. So we will see how this unfolds in the next episode.